Factorio. This is the first base I've made, and I think I'm ready to abandon it and start a new game with the knowledge I've gained. So here's my central base right now. I've got this train station here, where trains come in on two interconnected lines and dump off raw ores and smelted plates. So this particular train is going to take me around past what was once my original base. I actually started over there, and I used to have all sorts of infrastructure here. You can see just a couple of power lines and stuff remain, and random chests, but almost all of it has been torn down and reused. So now it just supplies copper, stone and stuff. The copper is being smelted here. I find these separated mining bases work a lot better when they do their own smelting, but that does require electric furnaces, which are quite high on the tech tree. Probably the main reason I want to start a new game is to experiment actually with taking different paths down the tree, because I think I made very inefficient use of it, as I wasn't really quite sure what the more or less important things were, and consequently the alien attacks are becoming a bit much. I've got all sorts of stuff I want to do, but expanding more will just anger them further, basically. So this train network I've got, here's another base. This one was actually destroyed by aliens just recently. I had to rebuild the whole thing, which was cool because I got to experiment with construction robots, but I could tell it really wasn't sustainable. I was like sort of burning through all my collected resources just to look at the corpse of that thing, just to deal with this one attack, and more of them will be coming. So here's my pollution cloud on the map. Lots of pollution, lots of aliens within the pollution, so you can see attacks are just becoming super frequent. And last time I went out and tried to kill a base, I had to flee in ignominy. So rather than take this train all the way, which that'll just go back around the loop, then there's another loop which goes to like these ore base 125 places and picks up other things. Western side of the map is basically just resource collection. Up this way is some more interesting stuff. Should probably build a car. Whatever. Besides some more stone, which I don't need. Well, no, I do need it. I haven't done things like automate the production of walls in this game, and I should have. That would have made things better. So here's my main power station. It's got a couple of interesting features. The main one is it produces power, lots and lots of power. However, also lots of pollution. And it's not fuel independent. It relies on this stuff coming in, solid fuel there, which is derived from some oil at another base, brought to here by train. This is actually my backup fuel line, but this one I put in to make stuff more reliable, but it's not totally reliable because these tanks fill up and this production all stops in the end. Then the whole thing was originally even more of a Rube Goldberg machine. You can see it partially done walls and stuff, because this coal is first taken to yet another base, which is where the solid fuel was produced, and then trucked back, or trained back, rather. Have I got a train coming around here? Maybe that I could catch and hunt a ride on? Don't really want to walk all the way up to the other base. Well, I might have to do just that. Okay, so following the train track here. Thankfully, I've just recently built an exoskeleton, which makes me move very quickly. Here we have the place where I worked out how to do oil processing, all kind of ugly and inefficiently laid out, with like turrets interspersed as the attacks became more common. But yeah, this place is where the solid fuel is being made as a byproduct of plastic production. So what happens is like the plastic fills up and then the fuel stops, and also you need the coal, that stops as well. It's all kind of stable-ish now. Like, it's pretty much fine, and I could stabilize the whole thing further. But I've spent enough time on it, I'd like to sort of start again with a clean slate, afresh, and do things in a better way. So yeah, that is a coolish Factorio setup. Train lines, partially functional, and lamps that come on at night, and a quite large, safe-ish central base. But I didn't manage to get a logistics network up and running. I've just kind of been working out how to do that and do blueprints and stuff. I had just begun replacing these medium electric poles with these substations, which are cooler. These accumulators, I was hoping the accumulator grid would be more useful than it is. But the trouble is, the power setup I've got, when it runs out of power, it does so over a long period of time because the fuel lines have stopped. They're accumulating. And when the fuel lines stop, it then takes a long time before anything goes wrong. and the accumulators extend that time, which doesn't really help because they just make it take even longer until I know something's gone wrong, at which point it's too late to do anything about it. Alright, let's jump on this train for one last victory lap and take off this ugly... Oh, I can't take off my night vision gear while I'm on a train. I guess you can't access your armor. I'm wearing power armor, which has like modular slots. One last tour of the West. Ah, and this is going to my other bases. So same basic ore extracting setup here. These places are just sort of impossible to defend. Alien swarms wipe them out instantly, here's the problem. And I could totally spend some time and resources fortifying each one, but it's, yeah, like I said, I'd like to do things better from the start. Iron. I find that you need about one of these storage chests per 3 smelters with the kind of setup I've got here. Oh, it's not filling up very quickly. Something's wrong with this. Oh, right, I need to... Well, if I was still playing this map, what I would do is I would move those mining drills onto the iron ore. Obviously, they've mined out their current patches. As the ore stuff is all non-renewable. Oh, missed placing a light there. Similarly, a copper base. Working out how track switches work was fun. You'll see those going to work in a second. So this is a slightly more functional base with actual copper plating coming in, and basically it buffers itself in these 2 chests and then loads onto the train much more quickly. You can see that number going up in on the right hand side of the screen. This train is set to move on after 30 seconds. The idea is that if a base can deliver useful amounts of resources, can't deliver useful amounts of resources in 30 seconds, then it needs to be optimized. So, let's look for track switch. You can't really see them at the speed the train is going, but basically I've got the various segments of rail. Here's one. Okay, so on the left hand side of the screen, this track switch here is green, this one is red, meaning that that segment of track in the bottom left is free, but the central one is not. And similarly, switches here let me into the main base, so although there's actually 2 train lines sharing this same central station. Unfortunately, the eastern trains doing the steam and oil stuff are just kind of completely unrelated. Yep, there another one goes. Cool. So here's my lab complex, which has totally ceased operating, I think, because I didn't get a really efficient pipeline set up for this kind of science pack. I was going to set up a thing, but maybe later. Anyway, that's cool. Factorio is cool. Here's my guy, like some man in power armor and like orange garb. I think he's actually an alien, like the whole premise is like you've fallen out of a spaceship or something.